First thing I wanted to ask you, I just watched Unchained again, and I think the best way to approach this is to ask, do you always play assholes? Are you an asshole in real life, or is that something that you feel like you just pulled off particularly for this film?
The answer to the second question is that depends on who you talk to. As far as do I always play assholes? Well, no, but you do what comes in. So Raphael was like, "Oh yeah, we wrote this just for you, by the way." I'm like, "Oh, great." And I read the first few pages of my part in the script. I'm like, "I'm not sure how I should take this, Raphael," but it was fun. It's always more fun to do somebody that's a little less normal.
And it was very animated, so I feel like it was probably easier for you to just get into full character because you just got to go 100 with it. Did you do any takes or anything like that you kind of did off the cuff that maybe didn't end up making it into the movie, or were you strictly scripted?
I haven't seen the movie yet,
Really?
so yeah. So you're ahead of me.
Okay, I won't
And
spoil anything for you then.
I don't know what's in or what isn't in. I know there were a couple of things that I was like, "Hey, Raf, let's do this because this is how this should really go," and we did it that way. So I don't know. Again, I haven't seen the movie, so there was at least four things that I was like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's not do that. Let's do this." And there was one part of a scene that I told Mayor, like, "Look, this isn't in the script. Just go with it. We'll see what happens." And we did it, and everyone was like, "Wait, that wasn't in the script." And I'm like, "Was it bad?" "No, it was great." So I don't know. Again, I have no idea. I don't know what's in or what's not in. So hopefully the stuff we kind of off the cuff or when I was like, "Hey, Raph, let's just do this."
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
it seems like a lot. Your character has a lot in the film, so I don't know, if there was anything cut out or not. But your character is very prominent, in kind
See,
of.
now again, you know more than I do.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
their whole thing was because when we went and did this, I got pages of the script for my character.
So you didn't
I
get the
did not get
complete script for the full
I didn't
movie.
get anything else.
Okay.
I'm like, they're like, "Well, we just want you to concentrate on this." So I honestly, and again, I think I told you, I got on set and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you carry a bat." He carries a bat through the hole. It's just there's
Yeah,
your
you had
bat.
mentioned that in a comment, and you
He's
had
like,
no idea that he was going to have a bat prior to that, right?
I had no idea of anything. All I knew was he was, again, because Raphael's a little hands off sometimes when his whole directing thing is. I don't know if you've ever worked at restaurants, but he's like he's like the executive chef,
Hmm.
and the actors are the sous chefs. So it's like this is the thing, make it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't do much as far as like exact because I've been in projects where like they were micromanaging everything that was going on. Raphael doesn't quite do that. And I was like, all right, so just give me a little help here. What do you want? What is this guy? Who is this guy? And he's like, it was just again, it was just whatever you think. Let's just go with it and take it from there. So I was like, all right, kid with an ant farm and a magnifying glass, cares about nothing, enjoys torturing, has a real mommy problem, and hates women. So I was like, okay, so let's have fun with that. And there you go.
So you've worked with Raffaello before, and I think he mentioned that he wrote the Warden, Georgia, the Peach, whatever you want to call him. he wrote this character with
Oh, so I put that in. I was like, yeah, they call me Warden. Yeah, Warden, Georgia, because I'm
a
such a.
peach. Oh, so
So
that was kind of off the cuff. That was like, hey,
yeah, that was one of those. That was one of those things.
nice.
So
So I think you said he wrote the character with you in mind. Now I know you guys also were working on the Year of Laughing Dangerously together,
yes, we did
which is,
that.
are you a completely different character in that? Because he said that it seems like it's a lot lighter.
Oh, it's lighter. Yeah, completely different character. I'm just your typical sleazebag, East Coast, um, uh, Hawaiian shirt wearing, you know, uh, constantly drinking agent guy. So yeah, it's completely different.
So do you
Yeah,
always
don't worry about it. Just get there, do the thing, and it'll be great. Yeah, that kind of
nice? So does the mustache come like do you have you ever had any roles that you haven't used your mustache with? I'm not familiar with
No,
your
and
prior
I've been
work.
asked, will you cut your hair? Will you do this? Will you do that? I'm like, yeah, but it's going to cost you.
So you pretty much take that with you. That's like your stamp.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you go onto my IMDb page, I don't know if you've done that or not, but go
I
onto
did, yeah. And I saw, yeah, that's why I was looking. I saw you had a lot of,
that's me.
exactly. That was the very
Like,
first thing that came up was this.
and there's also a lot of other character shots in there, but pretty much what you see is what you get. I've looked the same, and I know both of my agents. I have a West Coast and an East Coast agency. I pretty much look the same from like 10 years ago. Like I could pull up a 10-year-old headshot and go like this, and it'll be like exactly the same. So
That's funny.
however that works, but it's
Well,
worked.
it makes you incredibly recognizable. So,
There is that.
do you feel like have you other than Wrath, did you work with anybody else, like Mayor or any of the other cast members prior to doing Unchained?
No, and I had actually mentioned to Raphael, I was like, look, this guy's a sleazeball. I need to really make sure that the actresses feel really creepy around me. So I'm not going to talk to them that much. So it
Nice.
was kind of like, there was none of the normal kind of stuff you do in an ensemble where you're hanging out with each other after, between takes, after takes, whatever. Yeah, let's go get a drink, blah, blah, none of that. And I would say stuff just to creep them out, like just before a shot. Like I'd walk up behind Mare and just grab her and like sniff and go, you smell different when you're awake. Action, stuff like that. It worked.
I can only imagine. Like, wow. Yeah, and I think that goes to testament to, like you said, Raph. Um, he makes his art, but then he lets you make the pieces of the art with, your skills and your talents as the sous chef. As the sous chef, I
Right.
mean, you are the one that you're helping guide Mayor's performance, by whispering those things in the ear, and I think that's
Well,
cool.
creepy as hell, but it worked. Like okay. I mean, the only one ahead of time that I talked to was Taya, because I was like, she's used to that stuff,
Hmm.
and I'm like, look, because I'm a huge wrestling fan too. I mean, I'm like, you know the scene. Like, 99% of everything I'm gonna do is character. You know that, right? Oh yeah, it's no problem. I get it. Okay, great. So I was able to do stuff with her because she knew.
And she's used to play.
There,
She's used to
huh?
getting a character for wrestling, obviously.
Well, yeah, and I mean, wrestlers are the greatest one take, show people there are, because you only get one take. So it's like she knew, she just rolled with it. But like Mare and I'm sorry, I don't remember everybody's name. Mara Chris, you know, I wanted to make them kind of uneasy in the long run.
But it looked
So
like it worked. I mean, I know you haven't seen the film, so you'll have to find out for yourself. But when did you guys initially film this? I can't remember what Raph said. Was this pre-COVID?
yeah, it was just pre-COVID.
Okay. So you guys didn't have to worry about any of like the restrictions. Did you actually film your scenes with everybody else
Well,
on
yeah,
set? Okay.
yeah. It was pre-COVID. It was before everything went to hell, and all went, yeah, it was.
Well, let me ask you, what made you decide to want to be an actor? I know you said you have a huge love for wrestling and a lot of, wrestling involves a lot of character acting. Is that something that made you want to pursue that, or was it just something that you liked movies and stuff when you were younger?
Okay, so I've done a lot of stuff in my life. I used to be a professional musician. I did a ton of musical theater
Hmm.
as a pit musician. I play trombone, I play saxophone, I play bass. I can sight read for all three. In fact, the very first gig I got on a bet um, because I bet the director of that particular production of Little Shop of Horrors that I could sight read the entire first act without making a mistake. And I'm like, look, if I drop a note in the first act, you don't have to hire me. It's not going to bother you guys are rehearsing anyway. I'll just sit down, play the book. Give me the book, I'll play the book. Um, yeah. So I sight read the entire show. It was like there was one part in like one of the weird songs in the second act, and I flubbed a little bit, but by then it was fine. I won the bet. So um, I've done a lot of that. And there was also a situation where one of the things I had done, I had to actually get on stage and do. Because when you're a pit orchestra musician, you hear the show so many times, you pretty much memorize everything. And there was an issue with the dentist, and I had to play the dentist. So that was fun. In Little Shop of Horrors, I'm sure you remember that song.
Yeah. Well, my fiance is in music theater.
Cool.
She's
Okay, cool.
so I'm familiarized with a lot of the music from a lot of a lot of
Now,
projects like
this
that.
was back in the Borscht Belt.
Well, because she's gotten it from her parents, and so that passes down. She has a lot of knowledge and stuff like that. She went to school for it, and she's been in the opera for like a decade. So she is
Yeah.
very versed in all that stuff. And I wish I could sight read music like her, but that is a very impressive talent. Do you feel like being able to sight read and memorize music helps you with your memorizing of lines and
Oh,
acting?
absolutely. Because again, sight reading, when you're sight reading, I was always taught that, okay, so there's lines on the staff, right? You have a line, then you have another line, then you have another line. So you're playing this line while you're looking at the one 5 lines down. So you're kind of buffering in your head. So the whole thing with sight reading and being able to sight read well is basically chunks at a time. So when I was doing, all right, so anyway, so I did all that. And then when I got into the reason I actually got into acting in Hollywood is because a friend of mine a long time ago needed motorcyclists to do a thing. And because when I was in LA, I didn't have a car. I had motorcycles full time. At one point I had 4 different bikes.
Now I get the
Um,
hair and the mustache. Okay.
so
Go on. Sorry.
she needed motorcycle people for a thing. So I did it. I did the thing. And then doing that thing, another guy was like, hey, why don't you come and do this thing? And then another guy was like, hey, come and do this thing. And it just kind of grew into that. And then through this friend of mine, I started doing acting workshops. I'm not going to say acting class because
Yeah, I know what you
I
mean.
had my own thing on the whole acting class thing. So I started doing acting workshops with Bobby Chance. I don't know if you're familiar with the Chances at all, but it's
I
like a
don't believe
family
so.
dynasty. There's Bobby Chance, Larry Chance, and Richie Chance.
Not
Take your
something
chance.
that I'm familiar with, but I'll take
But
my chance and look them up after this.
they have they had a workshop before everything went to hell. They had their own theater, so I started doing scene study and stuff with them. And the cool thing, the thing that really was good about that was you walk in and you get a scene that you've never seen before, and you've got like an hour. Here, be off book in an hour. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. It was more of a workout. Just okay. So I switched from sight reading music to sight reading script stuff. So I could just look at the thing and go, okay, got it. Oh, you're my partner in this? Yeah, let's run the scene. Already? Trust me. So, which was great because it was something different every time I went. It was never the same scene twice. It was always, and they were really big on that. They were also big on emotional, what's the word? It's hard for me to explain this. Authenticity. You know, don't try to act. Just do it. Just do the thing. Whatever you think the thing is, do the thing. And then if there needs to be adjustments, let the director worry about that. So there was a lot of that, and which is kind of the way Raphael does his thing. Is and I even asked him before, and I was like, how attached are we to this script? Because there was a couple things in there. I'm like, this guy wouldn't say this particular situation, or he wouldn't say this, or instead he's like, it's more of a guideline. Okay. It's more of a framework, actually. Yes, it's not gospel. It's more of a framework. So that was a plus. And then there were, like I said, there were parts in the script and scenes that we were doing. I was like, hey, I'm going to do this instead. Just so you know, Raphael, I'm going to do this. Let's see what happens. And the way he was like, yeah, all right. So
you're the sous chef. You're the sous chef.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
We want you to do, then do it your way. I liked that about the film. I felt like everybody kind of brought their own energy to it, and when I spoke with Raph, like that's something that he seemed like he was pretty something that it seems like he brings to his different productions, not just this, that he, like you said, kind of puts people in the place and wants to see them do their version or their authentic version of that, not just what he thinks you guys would do. So I think that's pretty cool.
As long as it, in the long run, as long as the thing comes out all in one cohesive thing, then you're okay. So I'm sure if anybody did anything that wasn't cool, he would stop it. That's what the director does. The director says, no, let's not do that. Let's do this instead. But there wasn't a whole lot of that when I was on set with the people I was on set with. There wasn't a whole lot of that. It was pretty much between me and Mare. There were the fight scenes that, because she's so much smaller than I am physically. She's tall, but she's not a big. She's little. She's So we wanted to make sure that I didn't hurt her, or I also wanted to make sure she didn't hurt herself on me. So there was a few things that we had to work out ahead of time. Where she strangles me with the bat at one point. That took a little bit of figuring out. I'm like, because it was funny to me. So there was, between me and her, there had to be some pre-production, I guess you'd say, and so things like that. It was just pretty much up to us. We did it. I'm like, oh, how's that look? Does that look okay? Yeah, great. Move on. Next. Okay. So, and then there was like, again, one or two things where I told Mare, I'm like, look, this isn't in the script. Just go with it. Let's see what happens. And she's got enough experience, and she has enough ability on her own to be able to do that. Not everybody can do that. And she was able to kind of follow me on a couple things, and there were things where I followed her, and the stuff we were together on.
And I know that she is musical as well, for lack of a better word. She's musically inclined as well. I think Raphael said that Mare did the song that's in the credits. I know you haven't seen the film, but a song that Mare sang is the credit song.
Right.
So I feel like maybe with you guys both being musically inclined, it's a little bit easier for you guys to kind of get that that not camaraderie, because you're acting against each other, is evil, but the
Well,
chemistry is
we're acting
fantastic.
against each other, but we have to have simpatico, for
Right,
lack of a better.
right, right, right.
Excuse me, let me pull out my high-end vocabulary for a moment, please. Yes. So you got to have that. Plus, you got to trust each other a little bit.
Hmm.
You know, I've been on sets where I've been with other actors and actresses where they were kind of had their heads up their asses, and it was all about them. You know, I'm like, and that's the one thing that Bobby Chance always says: "Your name is not here. This is not you. Stop acting like it's you." So it's like your name's not there. Stop being precious about it. Do your thing, and because the more you and generosity too is how Richie Chance always says it. Things, you know, be generous. So you get to a spot in your script and you're working with somebody. If they don't necessarily know their line, give it to them without everybody knowing you're giving it to them, kind of thing. Um, so I try to do that as much as possible. And then yeah, it's all about that. But I'll tell you what, I mean, Rock Riddle came in and did his thing. I mean, he's again a pro wrestler, one take guy. He came in, did his ring announcer thing, and was like he was shooting a promo for a wrestling show. It's
Yeah.
great. Rock's hysterical. The guy knows what the hell he's doing.
Hmm.
Um, Taya was great in all her stuff. It was very easy. There was a lot of, on a lot of levels. This was a very easy film. Other things made it not so easy, like the set being out in Hell's Half Acre somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That was interesting. Um, but you know, and again, nothing against John, nothing against Ilea, the production team or any of that. Raphael is pretty much what made this whole thing work. I have to say that because it's true. Just his energy, the way he does things made this all work and made it come together, you know. Plus he edited the thing, he's putting the whole thing together. So he's literally the executive chef,
Yeah.
making sure making sure that all these different ingredients could either be really really good, they could be kind of bad. So but yeah, the whole thing, if it wasn't for him, I honestly say we wouldn't have had a movie if it wasn't for him doing what he does and the way he does it. So I don't want
Well,
to get.
I think that's a great way to put it. I think you guys did great together, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I wanted to give you a chance to mention anything about either Unchained or any of your other projects that you may want to mention before I let you
I
go.
have a YouTube channel that I started doing basically out of complete boredom because I had nothing else to do. I started it in LA before I had to leave, and then I kind of tried to keep it up here. I haven't done too much on it because I didn't want to. I didn't want to get in the way of the movie and the press for the movie, so I haven't really done anything new. But it's on YouTube. Hey asshole! Hey asshole!
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you've seen any of that stuff, but like originally, my thought originally for that was grabbing people off the street and basically berating them for the dumb things they say. So if you go back to like the very beginning of that on the channel, it's like, you you're the camera. Um, you've got a hood over you and you're being dragged in, and I pull the hood off. I'm like, hey asshole. So that was the origins of that.
That's
And then
fun.
obviously it changed because of COVID, and I can't grab people off the street here. It's a little different in Florida. Um, so I kind of changed it a little bit, and I'm still I'm anyway. That's what that's really all I got right now. There's that. There's the year of laughing dangerously. Um,
I know Raph said I think that's in post production. I think that's he said hopefully it'll be out later this year, if not next year, as far as the year of laughing dangerously goes.
yeah. So that was. again, I didn't have, again, Raphael's got this thing. He's like, oh no, I don't want you to know too much about the movie. Here's your stuff. Do your stuff, which is interesting. But it works. It was fine. So I mean, again, I'm the agent. I'm an agent. I'm a sleazebag agent. You know, big cigar, Hawaiian shirt kind of thing. But that's it. But
So I want, I guess, one more question about Unchained. Raphael pick out your outfit for you, or like, do you
no, that's
ha
and again, I'm like, what do you want? He's like, basically anything you have in your closet is probably going to be perfect.
so like the belt
Okay.
buckle and the leather jacket and everything, that's all from your wardrobe then?
Oh yeah, it's all mine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was
That's
wondering. I was like,
my Tuesday outfit.
I want.
Leather vest, the shirt, the pants, the giant belt buckle. Actually, the giant belt buckle was a gift from my girlfriend at the time. That actually came from Australia, and I got a giant cowboy hat that matches it from Australia, and
That's
actually an
funny.
actual Australian cowboy hat and that belt buckle. So,
That's pretty cool. So then I think that's pretty much all I have. Did you have anything else that you wanted to mention before I
I
close
mean,
it out?
I've worked with Eric Roberts before. He's a nice guy. I've been in his house. He's cool. His wife's awesome. Um, and I've seen a lot of his stuff. The father, the dead father thing. Oh, I don't know if I should have said that, but uh, the father who flies in times of trouble. Uh, but no, he's a great guy. And there's the restaurant guy. He's a friend. I've known him for a while. Uh, the restaurant manager that I guess she goes for a job.
Yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about. I don't know if he's taller, but like
He's
she
way
went.
tall.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
basketball.
Yeah,
He's
that's what I
basketball.
thought.
Yeah, he was an ex-basketball player, pro basketball player.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, the whole thing was basically, you've seen it, I haven't, so you're ahead of me there.
Right.
So what you see is what we did, and again, the production team was great. Those guys were all really cool, and the way Raphael does things is what made the whole thing really work. during a pandemic when everything was shut the